Because this one's all black with that racing stripe, you can tell it's a juvenile.
Really?
I can also tell that it's male. You know how?
How?
Because every single ribbon eel is born a male. As they grow into adulthood, they change into this lovely blue and yellow. Now, unlike garden eels, these eels don't mind buddying up. This older gentleman here, for example, is sharing his hole with a juvenile. Now, there's a whole bunch of
Buddying up. Is that what happened with your colon? Did you buddy up and share your hole with a juvenile? I'm sorry. That's not appropriate. It's not appropriate at all. How's your butt doing, buddy? Is it feeling better? Oh wait, there's something I wanted to show you guys.
Reasons why it can happen, but at some point, some adult males turn into females. And when they do that, they change color again to all yellow. Pretty cool, right? Get to see what that's like.
There we go.
Steep
So we've got, you know what this reminds me of? It's a female eel, the yellow one, in the center of two male eels, the black ones. So one's sort of twisted over there, but in the beginning you could see it. Let's see if I can scroll back a little bit. Yeah, see, she's right there in the center of these two male eels.
To see what that's like. Steep price, though, because they immediately mate, lay eggs, and then die. All.
So that makes me think of this symbol. So we're going to my WordPress blog here, guys. Oh, I don't know. Look at this version. Doesn't matter, I don't think. So this is my WordPress blog. This is one of the posts called Tesla, Rodin's Coil, This Mortal Coil, The Flower of Life, The Seraphim, and Ancient Jewish Magic. That reminds me of this symbol. Why does it remind me of this symbol? Well, we have the Rodin's coil there wrapping, it's sort of like a donut wrapping around this vortex. So it says, you can see there, it says vortex in on the top downward pointing triangle. And it says vortex out on the bottom upward pointing triangle. And then you have what looks like a donut wrapping around it. You can see it down here, Rodin's coil. And then you sort of have this event horizon central point of the vortex. You can see it, if you look closely, it's a star right there in the center, or a sun. And it's an 8-pointed star, or sun. So an 8, note that the vortex makes something that looks very much like a figure 8. And of course you can look down here also at these images of, these are tombstones with an Ouroboros, a snake eating its own tail. That would be the Rodin's coil there. And it's wrapped around something that looks very much like, well, in the tombstones, it is an hourglass. That would be the vortex, in and out. And then, of course, the centerpiece, we have that star, that sun. So there are four elements here. You have the downward pointing triangle, and then you have the upward pointing triangle. You have the Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail, and or the Rodin's coil donut wrapping around the entire thing, encircling the entire thing. And then you have that little central point, that sort of event horizon point, the 8-pointed star. Now, the way I read it We have some other images here. Is the so the snake is the primordial. It represents the most primordial being, the first being, the first deity, first God, if you will, that encompasses all things. All things live within it. And for me, at least, I see that as being more feminine than anything. It's more of a mother than anything, the mother to all things. Then the upward and downward pointing triangle, I think are the male aspects, the father and the son. So downward pointing triangle would be father, upward pointing triangle would be son. And then what do we have in the central point there? An 8-pointed star, event horizon. It's sort of the point of everything. It's where everything's leading to, right? Which a point is just another circle. Notice we have this circle here, rodent's coil. It's a snake eating its own tail, forming a circle, wrapping around all things, and it's getting to a point. It splits itself off. It makes, a world inside of itself. It makes all this life and conflict and love and all sorts of things, going on within itself and getting to a point, an eventual point. The point would be, from what I can tell thus far, it's another version of itself or a newer version of itself, which would be the next mother or girl or next mother. Because a circle is just a point and a point is just a circle. All right? And triangles, particularly upward pointing triangles, are often associated with phallic symbols. Now, sometimes the downward pointing triangle is a female, feminine symbol, but I also have seen it used to indicate, like, the, for example, the father, or this idea of the Christian father. So you can see another symbol that looks like this with, is it St. Patrick, or which one of them? I believe it's St. Patrick, who, if this thing would like to cooperate, Patrick killing serpent. It's a very Christian image. He didn't. That story is a legend. Yeah. Legends are telling us other things. So, quite often, of course we don't see it here. Quite often when this is depicted, it's depicted as, or let's do, the story's retold in a lot of ways. It's a knight killing a serpent, or St. Patrick killing a serpent. Knight kills serpent with sword. And it's usually a sword pointing downwards. There you go, something like that. Or a spear that he's thrusting downwards into a serpent. So it can be another phallic symbol. There we go. There's one. So all of these symbols of a knight, or sometimes it's an angel, guardian angel, or St. Patrick, heroes, princes, kings, what have you, with either a sword or a lance of some sort, and they're driving it downwards into a serpent. That is a symbol that is representing this. The downward pointing triangle inside of the Ouroboros snake. But that's just one half of it. That's the father. And then you have the son, the father and the son. So we see this story told and retold. There's Osiris and Horus, father and son. Nimrod and Tammuz, father and son. In Christianity, you have God, Yahweh, and Jesus, father and son. So this father and son story has been told and retold throughout so much of history and so many different cultures and so many different belief systems. And the way I'm seeing it so far, maybe this will change, is that the father is the downward pointing triangle. The son is the upward pointing triangle. They are the trials and tribulations that they put the mother through, the woman through, the first primordial entity, right? A piece of her fell. It fell, or you could say capsized, or sort of shrunk itself down and created a little internal world, the material flesh world. A piece of her being like one of her angels, one of her daughters, one of her, a smaller piece making up the whole, created this other world within her. And it's a tumultuous, sad, hectic, havoc-wreaking world, and there are things that make you elated and happy, and things that make you sad and angry, and sort of a roller coaster ride, but it's meant to get you to this ultimate point that you have here in the center, that 8-pointed star, which again, a point is just another circle. It's a new, fresh little circle. Yeah. So it's like the mother, I've said this in the past, I'll say it again. It's like the mother recreating herself or being remade. Think of it maybe in terms a little bit of a beehive. So yeah, or, we see this a lot, ladies. A lot of times in order for a girl to become a woman, she has to be, in some ways, it's dudes who mess her up, right? One way or the other. Even in the best of circumstances, it's, he married her, he impregnated her, and then if she was a little girl before, in any kind, in mind, then she grew up real quick when she was suddenly responsible for a bunch of crying, screaming, pooping babies, right? And suddenly being a selfish child kind of goes right out the window. And now it's time to grow up and be a bit more selfless and take care of your responsibilities. So yeah, that's how I've been interpreting this symbol. And again, we see it on the tombstones of Freemasons. That's what these pictures are. These are grave sites for Freemasons, secret society people. So the vortex is male, father and son. The snake eating its own tail, the Ouroboros, the rodent's coil, is the first primordial entity. It is sort of the oversoul, if you will. The thing that we all exist within, and it exists within all of us. It's the true light, as far as I can tell. and we can't perceive it, even though we are within it. We can't perceive it because of our physical flesh bodies. So yeah, that's what that reminds me of, the two eels, or the three eels, chilling out in one hole with the woman between the two men. Anyway, yeah, I don't think I want to skip back to it. Let's keep this one short.